Afternoon. My name is Priscilla Rojas, and I am the Chair of the BPDA Board. Thank you for joining the January 15th, 2026 Economic Development and Industrial Corporation of Boston Board Meeting. At this time, the Boston Planning and Development Agency is hosting public meetings in a hybrid setting for the health, safety, and accessibility of Boston residents. Hybrid means that our board meetings are conducted in person at City Hall in our boardroom on the 9th floor and virtually via Zoom and Boston City TV. For more information and updates, please visit bostonplans.org. The Open Public Meeting Law requires that I notify the public that this meeting is being recorded. Please be aware that an audio and visual recording of this meeting is being made and broadcast by Boston City TV, which is part of the City of Boston Office of Cable Communications, at Xfinity Channel 26, RCN Channel 13, and Verizon Fios Channel 962. It is also being live streamed at boston.gov/cable. If there is anyone in the audience now who is recording this meeting, we ask you please identify yourself. Okay, seeing none. We're going to start the meeting with the roll call. Ms. Bennett.
Present.
Mr. Shepherd.
Present.
Mr. O'Malley.
Here.
And the chair, Priscilla Rojas, and present. Item number 1, request authorization for the approval of the minutes of the December 11th, 2025 board meeting. A motion is in order.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Item number 2, request authorization to amend the construction services contract with South Coast Improvement Company to complete repairs to the platform and canopy at 12 Channel Street in the Raymond L. Flynn Marine Park to increase the contract amount by $350,000 and to further execute a 15% contingency for a total aggregate contract amendment amount of $402,500. Star.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the board. It's nice to be before you again. I'm here to request authorization to amend the construction contract with South Coast Improvement Company. They're our general contractor at 12 Channel Street for the loading dock repair project. This matter was before you in December of 2024, and that's when we originally awarded the construction contract. As you may recall, 12 Channel is a 9-story masonry building built in the 1940s by the U.S. military and has an elevated loading dock platform area that wraps around the whole building. And it has a concrete canopy and awning. This contract is performing concrete repairs and replacements to portion of the loading dock and to extend the life expectancy of this portion of the building. We encountered some unforeseen conditions on this project, namely the angle iron rod tiebacks that support the concrete canopy. It's the overhang where we found some structural deficiencies because of certain corrosions. This was not apparent during the design investigation. The deterioration was located under some asbestos, so after some of the roofing materials and the contractor was working on it, he noticed it, and we didn't want to cause any more of a disturbance, so we made sure everything was cleared up and sound. Currently, we're good to go. Construction should end by the end of July, but now we need to pay for the winter conditions because we're, working with concrete in the winter and the lapse of time. The original contract was roughly $4.4 million. We're asking for a 9% increase, which is roughly $400,000, which includes the 15% contingency, bringing the total contract amount to $4,769,974.10. And given the safety impacts of this work and contractors going through, we just need to tighten up and finish up. Any
Sounds
questions?
Good. Sounds good. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments from the board? All right, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you. All right, item number 3, request authorization to amend the engineering service contract with Gale Associates Incorporated for engineering design services for repairs to the platform and canopy at 12 Channel Street within the Raymond L. Flynn Marine Park, increase the contract by $137,100, and to further execute a 15% contingency for a total aggregate contract amendment amount not to exceed $157,665. Star.
So me again, and when there's more construction, you need the designer to stay on to close it up. So we're here to amend the engineering contract with Gale. And as you mentioned, yes, it was originally for $401,000 roughly. The increase we're asking for is about 40%, but compared to the construction contract, it's within industry standards at 12%. And the total amount to the final contract would be $558,865.
Okay,
Any questions?
thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved. Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes
Thank
have it, motion
you.
passes. Thank you, Star. Item number 4, request authorization to enter into a grant agreement with the Suffolk University Office of Small Business to support local economic development through technical assistance and advisory services for small business owners in an amount not to exceed $50,000. Amina, or no, Chief Udall.
Well, it's me again.
Yeah.
Great to see you all.
Here.
I want to try to be here every month. It's great to see you again. I guess for the record, Shagani Daru, Chief of Economic Opportunity and Inclusion, just here to request $50,000 to support a partnership with Suffolk University. So this is an initiative between Suffolk, the entire university, and our Office of Small Business to support growing or emerging small businesses to prepare for the events coming up this year, FIFA Tall Ships and the 250th, particularly those located in neighborhoods that are economically disadvantaged, but also targeting residents who are looking to come up out of poverty through entrepreneurship. So the $50,000 that we'll be providing to Suffolk is to, number one, help to make access free for this program, but also to provide a stipend to those who are participating, which is not currently available. And you talk to any entrepreneur, they love all these programs, but if they're going to choose between building their business or participating in an accelerator, they're going to build their business because that's what's going to get the money. And so this is a way to make both happen. So that's what we're asking for. Very, very happy with Suffolk University. Just as context here, they launched a program a couple of years ago called SEED, which stands for Suffolk Entrepreneurship and Educational Development, as a result of conversation and collaboration with the Economic Opportunity and Inclusion Cabinet. For Suffolk, it's the first of its kind cross-disciplinary university-run consulting clinic for small business owners focused on Boston businesses. What they do is all parts of the university. If you're a small business, you need legal support, you're working with their law school, business support, their business school, et cetera, et cetera. And we've had dozens of businesses go through there that have gotten really important support. And so I want to thank President Kelly for helping to fund that. But so this is kind of building on that relationship and that partnership to provide more support for businesses, get them ready for 2026 and help them grow beyond.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Yeah, I think we're good. Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved. Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you next month, maybe.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 5, request authorization to issue a request for proposals for a contractor to deliver CDL Class B licensure training and support of the Boston Climate Jobs Alliance. Doreen.
Thank you. My name is Doreen Tracy. I'm the Director of Workforce Training and Programs in the City of Boston Worker Empowerment Cabinet, which includes the Office of Workforce Development. I'm here today to request permission to advertise and issue a request for proposals for a contractor to provide commercial driver's license CDL training services to support the Boston Climate Jobs Alliance. In August 2024, the Economic Development and Industrial Corporation was awarded $9.8 million Climate Ready Workforce Grant from the Department of Commerce, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, for the City of Boston Office of Workforce Development to create the Boston Climate Jobs Alliance, which is a coalition of 30 stakeholders, including training providers, educators, service providers, community engagement partners, climate experts, and employers. The Alliance work is aimed at filling approximately 1,200 jobs committed by 13 employers in family-sustaining coastal and climate-resilient occupations over 4 years. Workers trained through the Alliance will be placed in jobs that help advance coastal resiliency strategies. With this request for proposal, the Office of Workforce Development is seeking an experienced commercial driver's license CDL training provider to provide theory and behind-the-wheel training for Boston residents seeking a CDL Class B license in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Program graduates will be prepared to enter into employment with employers such as the Boston Water and Sewer Commission to ensure water and wastewater systems reliability, and the City of Boston to strengthen emergency preparedness and response capabilities. The estimated contract amount is $685,000 over 2.25 years, and it will be supported by the Climate Ready Workforce Grant provided to EDIC by NOAA. The RFP is scheduled to release on January 20th, pending approval. Thank you for the opportunity to present.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have any questions or comments from the board? Sounds like a great program. Hearing and seeing none, motion is in order.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you. Item number 6, request authorization to issue a request for proposals for a contractor to provide training and case management services to support the Boston Climate Jobs Alliance. Doreen.
Thank you. So I'm here today to also request permission to advertise and issue a request for proposals for a contractor to provide what we call bridge program training services. This is the case management and training to support the Boston Climate Jobs Alliance. With this request for proposal, the Office of Workforce Development is seeking to fill a bridge program training provider role to provide expertise in CDL training, to develop and deliver job readiness curriculum for adult learners, and with case management and job coaching expertise. The trainer will create a pipeline of qualified students participating in training for the attainment of a commercial driver's license permit, a CDLP, tanker endorsement, and hoisting license. The estimated contract amount is $493,000 over 2.25 years, and it will also be supported by the Climate Ready Workforce Grant provided to EDIC by NOAA. The RFP is scheduled to release on January 20th, pending approval. Thank you again for the opportunity to present this request.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion
Thank you.
passes. Thank you, Doreen. Item number 7, request authorization to issue a request for proposals for a contractor to provide a training program to support the Boston Climate Jobs Alliance that provides career readiness, occupational skills, and wraparound support for participants to enter and be successful in a registered union apprenticeship in the building trades. Jody.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Jody Sugarman-Brozan. I'm a Deputy Chief in the Worker Empowerment Cabinet, which includes the Office of Workforce Development. Thank you for having me here again. I am here to request permission to advertise and issue a request for proposals for a contractor to provide a training program to support the Boston Climate Jobs Alliance that provides career readiness, occupational skills, wraparound support in order to enter and be successful in a registered union apprenticeship in the building trades. My colleague has already talked about the grant that was received by the Economic Development in Industrial Corporation from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. I'll add that on December 3rd, the Worker Empowerment Cabinet released a new report, the Boston Climate Ready Workforce Action Plan, a workforce assessment, a climate workforce assessment. And according to that report, between now and 2050, efforts to design, build, and operate a clean energy economy and ensure Boston's climate resiliency will keep about 67,000 people employed each year. About 10% of those jobs will be net new jobs that wouldn't exist if it were not for the city's policies and strategies. About 50% of those jobs will be in the building trades. In fact, over the next 25 years, we estimate that the city and property owners will need to invest anywhere between $12 and $21 billion in new coastal and nature-based investments to prevent flooding, control stormwater, build coastal resilience, and other efforts. About 8,858 to 15,525 jobs will be supported by these investments each year, including workers to install, maintain, and build resilience infrastructure. You can find the full report at boston.gov/climate climate-jobs. So with that information, we now want to ensure that we're building pathways for Boston residents into those jobs. That is why we're asking today for the opportunity to release a request for proposals that seeks a vendor to provide technical training to prepare at least 38 students with career readiness, occupational skills, and wraparound support in order to enter and be successful in a registered union apprenticeship in the building trades. The estimated contract amount is about $350,000 over 2 years and will be supported by the Climate Ready Workforce Grant provided to EDIC by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and the RFP is scheduled for release in early February pending approval. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present again today.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board?
Just a comment, the labor workforce is essential across the country. They say for every one apprentice that comes into our retire, 2 journey persons are retiring. So we definitely have to replenish the workforce, and this is a great idea. Glad to hear it.
Thank you. Thanks for your support.
Yeah, and like very impressive statistics, and having this focus to climate-ready jobs and the building trades.
Please check out the full report. It's
No, it
available
sounds. All right, so any other questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, motion passes. Thanks so much, Jody.
Thank you so much for your support.
All right, item number 8, personnel. Mike.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Madam Secretary, and Director Shen. We have one item for your consideration on the EDIC agenda with the exact details included in the board memos. We have one contract in the Administration Division, Zoe Kalberg. Thank you, and that's it. If I have any
Okay,
questions,
thank
I'll
you.
answer.
All right, any questions or comments from the board? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, motion passes. Thanks, Mike. All right, that was the last item, so I now need a motion to adjourn the EDIC meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Meeting adjourned. Okay, we'll now move on to the next portion. Thank you for joining the January 15th, 2026 Boston Redevelopment Authority Board meeting. At this time, the Boston Planning and Development Agency is hosting public meetings in a hybrid setting for the health, safety, and accessibility of Boston residents. Hybrid means that our board meetings are conducted in person at City Hall in our boardroom on the 9th floor and virtually via Zoom and Boston City TV at the same time. For more information and updates, visit bostonplans.org. The Open Public Meeting Law requires that I notify the public that this meeting is being recorded. Please be aware that an audio and visual recording of this meeting is being made and broadcast by Boston City TV, which is a part of the City of Boston Office of Cable Communications at Xfinity Channel 26, RCN Channel 13, and Verizon Fios Channel 962. It's also being live streamed at boston.gov/cable. If there is anyone in the audience who is recording this meeting, I ask that you please identify yourself now. Okay, seeing none. And also, please note that no demonstrations of approval or disapproval from members of the public are permitted as well during the meeting. So thank you. Starting with the roll call, Ms. Bennett. Here. Mr. Shepherd.
Present.
Mr. O'Malley.
Here?
And the chair is present. So before we get started, we have Councilor Flynn. Councilor Flynn, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, may I speak on 391 D Street?
Please.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair, and to the members of the board. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm City Councilor Ed Flynn. I sent in a letter, but I also wanted to testify in person on the proposed project at 391 D Street to construct a new 15-story, 438-room hotel. This would result in more tourism coming to Boston, but also supporting the convention center that desperately needs more hotel rooms as they are planning for more conventions as well. In recent days, Madam Chair, I spoke directly with the Massachusetts Convention Center Authority Executive Director that just started, John Barros, about this project. I felt it was important for me to speak with him directly because this was placed on the BPDA board before he was hired or already started actually as well. So I wanted to make sure that he was comfortable with what was going forward. And after a conversation with him, he confirmed to me that they are supportive of this project. So that's why I'm here. I'm in support of this project. I do believe we need more economic development in the city. I want to see more job training for this project as well. This will improve Boston's economy, help provide job opportunities. It's critical we support economic development in Boston, and I know the development team will do a very good job, and along with the builders as well. So one record in support of this project, Madam Chair, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Thank you very much, Councillor Flynn, and for going the extra mile and having the additional conversations. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, Jordan Frias is here from Councillor Murphy's office.
Okay, Jordan, the floor is yours as well.
Oh, Weber,
Jordan,
I'm sorry.
Councillor Weber's office.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jordan Frias here, representing Councilor Ben Weber, District 6. I believe you guys have this support letter for item number 15 on the agenda, the Rogerson-Buford project. I'm just going to read what the councilor wrote, though, so it's on the record. The councilor is writing to express his support for the revised plans for the Rogerson project located at 434 Jamaica Way Street and abutting Buford Street in Jamaica Plain. The project promises to provide updated facilities for Rogerson's memory care residents, as well as a substantial number of much-needed affordable housing units for seniors. The project involves 2 phases, with phase 1 involving the construction of a 6-story building that provides modernized memory care units for all Rogerson's current patients, as well as 41 affordable unit senior apartments. Phase 2 of the project, which I do not believe is before the BPDA currently, will involve the renovation of Rogerson's current building and the creation of an additional 53 units of affordable senior housing. Together, both phases of the project represent a significant change to the immediate area and will undoubtedly have an impact on the abutting residents on Buford Road, Lakeville Road, Jamaica Way Court, and Lockstead Ave, who have all voiced their concerns in public meetings as well as directly to our office. Due to the potential impact, we've closely monitored the project, Rogerson's community engagement with the neighbors, and have held several meetings with both Rogerson and the abutters. We just want to commend Rogerson's willingness to respond to abutters' concerns about density and space without a normal outlet onto a main street by making changes to their original plan. Some of the changes include redesigning the proposed building in phase 1 for less of an impact on neighbors by reducing the number of affordable senior units in phase 1 from 74 to 41. Capping the number of affordable senior apartments to be constructed in phase 2, and by altering the location of deliveries to prevent trucks from backing up on a narrow driveway repeatedly, and altering the exterior of the building to better reflect the surrounding community. Jamaica Plain needs affordable housing of all kinds, especially for its seniors who are being pushed out by rising costs. Rogerson's proposal will provide a significant amount of affordable senior housing in a relatively small space. So our hope is that the BPDA board will look favorably on this project and vote to approve this application during this meeting today. Thank you so much, Madam Chair and members of the board.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, starting with agenda item number 1, request authorization for the approval of the minutes of the December 11th, 2025 board meeting. A motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 2, request authorization to schedule a public hearing on February 12th, 2026 at 5:30 PM or at a date and time to be determined by the director to consider the proposed First Amendment to the development plan for Planned Development Area Number 52, 1 Brigham Circle, located at 1610 through 1620 Tremont Street in the Mission Hill neighborhood, for the conversion of existing office space to new healthcare clinic space, and to allow for clinic and accessory clinic as allowed uses within the PDA. So just a scheduling request, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, motion passes. Okay, item number 3,
Madam Chair, I have to recuse myself.
okay. Thank you. Okay, item number 3, request authorization to schedule a public hearing on February 12th, 2026 at 5:40 PM or at a date and time to be determined by the director to consider the proposed First Amendment to the Wentworth Institute of Technology 2024 through 2024 institutional master plan for the construction of a residence hall and student support service spaces. A motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, or no roll call. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Okay, item number 4. Request authorization to extend the lease with International Institute of New England Incorporated for the use of the 3rd floor of the China Trade Center located at 2 Boylston Street for a period of 10 years, commencing February 1st, 2026, and ending January 31st, 2036, with 2 5-year term renewal options. Rebecca.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. International Institute of New England has been a tenant at 2 Boylston Street since 2017. They occupy the entire 3rd floor with 13,676 square feet. IINE creates opportunities for immigrants and refugees to succeed through resettlement assistance, education, career advancement, and pathways to citizenship. IINE came into the building in a different market climate, and Class B office rates were higher and vacancy lower than they are today. We have stated to the board on a few occasions that we are looking to extend existing leases at 12 Channel Street and 2 Boylston Street rather than going to the market to looking for new tenants. IINE's current lease expires in February of 2026, and the lease allows for a single 5-year option extension. Current market office rates in the Midtown Subdistrict area, which includes Chinatown, is in the low to mid $30 per square foot range. IINE has agreed to extend their lease by 10 years with an option to extend for an additional 10 years. We are therefore proposing to lower the rent for INE to $33 per square foot plus a tenant improvement allowance of $25 per square foot to be used towards remodeling and space design. By comparison, the BRA would have expected to pay a tenant improvement allowance of over $150 per square foot just to compete for a new tenant. IINE will also receive a second tenant improvement allowance of $5 per square foot in 2031 to be used towards any desired touch-ups. This business model is mutually beneficial. IINE benefits from no relocation expenses, no service downtime, immediate reduction in rent, and a modestly improved space. And the BRA benefits from a guaranteed market rate revenue through 2036, no loss in cash flow, and a 5% reduction in tenant improvement allowance as opposed to going out into the market. And then cash flow value well over 100% greater than the forecasted value in the event that IINE moved. So therefore, we are recommending that the board authorize the new lease agreement with IINE. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Questions or comments from the board? All right, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
I like this strategy, by the way. Okay. Item number 5, request authorization to renew a licensed agreement with Delaware North Companies Incorporated for 2 existing electronic signs on the north facade of TD Garden located at 100 Legends Way in the West End neighborhood for a period of 1 year with automatic renewals for 7 one-year terms up to a maximum of 8 years and a licensing fee of $5,000 per sign per year. Christopher.
Hey. Madam Chair, members of the board, Chief Shen, Secretary Paul Hemus, good afternoon. For the record, my name is Chris Breen. I'm a compliance monitor with the Planning Department. And before you today, as stated, is a request from Delaware North to renew their current license agreement for 2 electronic signs that are located on the north exterior wall of the TD Garden, just above the MBTA commuter rail across from the Zachem and the Starrow Drive on-ramp. These are the 2 signs that have received zoning approval way back in August 22nd of 2016 and BPDA board approval in October of that year. The proposed license extension is for 1 year with the option to renew annually for up to 7 additional years for a total of 8 years from this past year. The license maintains all existing conditions regarding the sign design, content controls, hours of operation, maintenance, and continued compliance with their zoning relief. There's no new tech to be installed, and images of the sign will remain static. Delaware North has worked with both the state and city and has complied with all required public service announcements associated and is up to date with all annual licensing payments at this time. This concludes my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board? All right, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thanks, Chris. Item number 6, request authorization to extend final designation status to Windell Developers Incorporated as developer of 12 urban renewal parcels through the Neighborhood Homes Initiative located on Hallworthy and Hollander Streets in the Washington Park Urban Renewal Area, project number Mass R-24 in the Roxbury neighborhood of Boston, and to execute all appropriate documents, including a deed and land disposition agreement for each site by April 30th, 2026. Yoon.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. This request concerns an extension of final destination for the Hallworthy Hollander disposition site in the Washington Park Urban Renewal Area in Roxbury as part of the Neighborhood Homes Initiative developed in collaboration with the Mayor's Office of Housing to promote homeownership opportunities for the Garrison Trotter community. This particular project, proposed by Windell Developers, Inc., includes 23 residential units across single-family homes, townhomes, and two-family homes, with 16 affordable homeownership units serving households at 80% and 100% AMI. This particular project was tentatively designated back in 2022 and finally designated in 2023 with 4 final destination extensions of 3 months each. So since the last extension, the construction lender is currently awaiting confirmation of an additional MOH funding source, which is actually scheduled to be voted by the Public Facilities Commission next Tuesday. So once that approval is secured, the development team anticipates initiating closing calls and proceeding towards a transfer. Accordingly, staff is requesting a further 3-month extension of the final designation through April 30th, 2026 to accommodate the final funding approvals and closing coordination. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing, seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thanks, Yoon. Item number 7, request authorization to extend the tentative designation status of the Tenants Development Corporation for the development of parcel 22A in the South End Urban Renewal Area, project number Mass R-56, located at 151 Lenox Street in Roxbury, for a period of 6 months until July 31st, 2026. Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. I'm requesting an additional 6-month extension to the tentative designation for Tenants Development Corporation, or TDC, for the redevelopment of parcel 22A, located at 151 Lenox Street in the South End Urban Renewal Area. The board originally awarded TDC tentative designation in June 2018 and has extended the designation since the original vote to allow the developer to continue in their work toward helping us improve this part of our city. TDC had initially proposed to develop a community center with office space for its headquarters. In early 2024, after continued conversations with staff and significant analysis, it was determined that the previously proposed project was not financially achievable given current market conditions. TDC is now continuing a proposal that includes 100% residential use with 38 new rental units for seniors. In the last 6 months, TDC received BPDA board approval for the Article 80 small project and submitted its applications for the Mayor's Office of Housing, or MOH, and Massachusetts Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, or EOHLC, funding round RFPs. TDC expects to use the 6-month extension to refine the design with planning department staff, further refine the financial model, and continue discussions with MOH, EOHLC, and Mass Housing. We expect to be back before you in 6 months to provide an update on the project status. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments from the board? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thanks, Scott. Item number 8, request authorization to execute a contract with Casablanca Services Incorporated for citywide site maintenance services for a 3-year contract term and 2 one-year extension term options, and for a contract amount not to exceed $527,400 for the initial term plus the contingency. Francis.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, Secretary Polhemus, and Director Shun. Here today to ask for your vote to award Casablanca Services, Inc. 3-year total project. The scope of services consists of furnishing all necessary labor, materials, equipment, transportation and supplies and services for the BRA site maintenance services of the BPDA-owned parcels across the city of Boston. The procurement schedule was as follows. An IFB was released on 12/1/2024 2025. We had a virtual pre-bid conference on 12/3/2025. And the deadline for the bids, they were due on 12/16/2025, with a total of 4 bids were received. Casablanca Services was deemed to be the most responsible and responsive bidder to submit the bid with a total price of $879,000. Casablanca Services is a minority-owned business and are located at 4 Bennett Street in Everett, Mass. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments from the board? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thanks, Francis. Item number 9, request authorization to execute a contract with Uncle Sam's Contractors, LLC, for cleaning and maintenance of the China Trade Center located at 2 Boylston Street for a 3-year contract term and in an amount not to exceed $645,858. Lauren.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, Madam Secretary, Director Chen. I'm here to present the award for janitorial services at China Trade Center located at 2 Boylston Street. The selected company will be responsible for furnishing all labor, materials, equipment, and related services to clean and maintain the China Trade Center, as well as to clean and remove snow from Liberty Tree Plaza. In response to an IFB issued on November 17th, 2025, the BPDA received and opened 14 responses on December 2nd, 2025. Of the 14 proposals submitted, Uncle Sam's Contractors was determined to be the lowest, most advantageous overall bid. The resulting contract of $645,858 will be for the initial term of 3 years. This contract will be funded through the BPDA operating budget and represents an ongoing operating cost necessary to maintain the cleanliness of the China Trade Center and Liberty Tree Plaza. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you.
All right, item number 10, request authorization to issue a determination waiving further review pursuant to Article 80A-6 of the zoning code in connection with the notice of project change for the proposed construction of 200 residential rental units, including 29 IDP units, 66 car parking spaces, 95 bicycle parking spaces, 3,504 square feet of commercial space located at 445 through 449 Cambridge Street, and to execute an amended and restated cooperation agreement and an amended and restated affordable housing agreement and restriction, and an amended and restated artist affordable rental housing agreement and restriction, and to take all related actions. Dylan.
Thank you, and good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Director Shen, and Secretary Polhemus. My name is Dylan Norris, and I'm a project manager in the Development Review Division of the Planning Department. We are here before you this evening to discuss the proposed notice of project change for the Article 80B large project located at 445 to 449 Cambridge Street in Alston. Previously approved by the BPDA board in 2021, the 449 Cambridge and 2 Emery project proposed 2 separate buildings across 2 parcels in Alston. The Cambridge Street building would have had 7 floors and a gross floor area of approximately 131,000 square feet with residential, retail, restaurant service spaces, approximately inclusive of approximately 80 accessory parking spaces. The previously approved 2 Emery Road building would also have 7 floors and a GFA of approximately 33,000 square feet, totaling approximately 152 residential units across both buildings. Since the acquisition of the abutting parcel on Cambridge Street, the 2025 Notice of Project Change contemplates no longer pursuing the approved 2 Emery Road site, and it will remain under its current uses. The proponent then proposes to consolidate the development of the project and replace the existing commercial and retail structures at 445 Cambridge Street to create a singular block development now known as 445 to 449 Cambridge Street. The project change will result in a new development totaling 177,000 square feet of residential uses, as well as 3,500 square feet of ground floor retail space. This notice of project change will also increase the unit count of the development from the previously approved 152 units to 200 units, as well as reducing the maximum parking spaces of the project from 76 to 66. The new project will also feature a diverse range of unit types, from studios, 1-beds, 2-beds, as well as 2-bed townhouses. Additionally, 8 of the 29 affordable units will be artist live-work units. The project will also maintain its previously committed to community benefits and expand upon its previous in-kind public realm improvements, which will include 23 new public street trees, raised pedestrian crossings on Emery and Rugg Road, and a new designated pickup drop-off zone for rideshare companies that's not featured on Cambridge Street. The proponent team has also committed to continue to support the existing commercial tenants at 445 Cambridge Street throughout this transition, in short term assisting the tenants of Alston Billiards in identifying suitable temporary space elsewhere in Alston that aligns with their operational needs, and will continue to work collaboratively with Alston Billiards to determine its preferred long-term location, either within the development site or identifying and evaluating long-term retail spaces elsewhere in the Alston area. The proponent team filed their notice of project change on June 30th, 2025, which was distributed through the Alston neighborhood distribution lists. The planning department also sponsored and hosted a virtual IAG meeting on July 31st, 2025, and a virtual public meeting was held on August 4th, 2025. The public and IAG meetings were posted to the planning department calendar and website. Email notifications were sent out to all subscribers of the Alston neighborhood email update list, and local officials and their staff were also notified of the meetings. With that, I'll now turn it over to my colleague, Ted Schwartzberg, to present the planning and zoning context for the project, followed by the presentation from the proponent team. Thank you.
Thank you, Dylan. Good afternoon, Chair Rojas, members of the board. Ted Schwartzberg, Assistant Deputy Director for Planning Review. I'm covering for a colleague who's under the weather today. First, I'll orient you to the site. On the right side is an image showing the last approval, and the proponent will get into more detail, but the fundamental change is that shorter building on the right is now part of this development site, and the building will continue on at a similar scale across that site to the right. On the left shows a breakdown of the 3 parcels that make up the project. 2 Emery Road is outlined in red, 449 Cambridge Street is in yellow, and then the addition is 446 Cambridge Street in green. I'd also like to note that 2 Emery Road in red was originally contemplated to serve as accessory parking for this residential building. Planning staff felt that this change to increase the parking ratio would have an inappropriate impact on transportation by providing too much parking, and it would also displace an existing towing business that operates on that site as it waits to be redeveloped. So based on feedback from planning staff, that site will continue to operate as a tow lot. The small business will remain rather than serving as residential parking, and hopefully become a future phase on another date. Next slide, please. A little bit on the planning context. This project aligns with 2 key planning studies in the area. The Guest Street Planning Study from 2012 recommended residential development in this corridor. While this plan originally envisioned lower density zoning in this location, that zoning update was never undertaken. In the subsequent dozen years, projects were approved by the planning department, including the earlier iteration of this very project, and established a new contextual scale that tonight's project is consistent with. More recently, the 2024 Alston Brighton Needs Assessment prioritized increasing housing supply and contextual infill in transit accessible locations. Planners note this proposal's consistency with both of these goals in its provision of contextually scaled infill housing directly on the 6457 MBTA bus corridor and within the Alston Village Main Street District commercial node. Thank you very much, and I'll now turn it over to the proponent to describe their project in more detail.
Thank you.
Thank you, and good evening, Madam Chair and members of the board. I'd like to start by first thanking Dylan Norris and the Boston Planning Department staff for their guidance and collaboration through this process. We also want to acknowledge Council President Liz Brendan and her staff for their engagement and leadership on the behalf of Alston community. Everyone's been thoughtful, constructive, and it's definitely apparently helped shape this proposal. As a result of the review process and community feedback, the project before you today is stronger than when it first began. It now delivers more housing, less parking, and a cleaner, more urban response to the site, advancing shared goals around sustainability, housing production, and neighborhood character. A key improvement has been consolidating the development into a single city block along Cambridge Street. This opportunity was not available on prior submissions. This new approach better aligns with the city's urban design objectives by reinforcing the street edge improving walkability, and creating a more cohesive and active presence along the corridor. Finally, the reduction in parking reflects the site's proximity to transit and supports the city's mode shift and climate goals, while allowing more space to dedicating housing into the public realm rather than vehicle storage. Go to the next slide, please. As it was explained earlier, we are now focused on the entire block in between Emory Street and the street frontage. Now the street frontage along Cambridge takes up that entire block. The massing has grown slightly now that we have taken over the 445 property that was not available previously. Next, please. These are some existing photos of what's currently there today. In the upper left-hand corner, it's looking north. You can see the property is up in the right-hand corner of that photo. On the left-hand side, it is on the upper right-hand side, the existing property is on the left. And then as we go to the lower pictures, we're zooming in a little bit more. The center picture really gives you a good visual of 445 Cambridge, which is on the lower floor garage, and on the upper floor, it's a pool hall on the second floor, which, as Dylan referenced earlier, we have met with the tenant, and we are looking to provide some assistance in helping them to find another location to move to. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to our architect, who can walk you through some of the floor plans of the building.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Steve Makovitz. I'm with SCB Architects here in Boston. I just want to walk through some of the changes that have happened and the opportunities urbanistically with the consolidation into a single cohesive site. So right now we have the opportunity to do sidewalks on all three sides along Emory, Rugg Road, and Cambridge Street, to introduce sidewalks in a lot of conditions where we don't actually have them now. So it's a range of a 5-foot wide walk surface along Rugg Road and Emory, and then up to 11 feet along Cambridge and 9.5 feet along the balance of Emory over on the right-hand side. We're also able to introduce meaningful streetscape improvements, including the street trees, the 23 count that we had before. We've also, with working with city planning, introduced a meaningful pickup and drop-off area over on Emory Road, over on the left-hand side near Cambridge. And what that does is it allows us to have the opportunity for taxis, Ubers, and lifts to drop off, and not have that happen along Cambridge Street, but to have a safe pull-off off to the side. Another component that kind of came through this process was on the northeast corner to introduce a bit of additional green space right at the intersection of Emory and Rugg by pulling back the massing a bit and creating some urban space. There's a tree planting opportunities, and there also happen to be the front doors for two of the two townhome units that we have on the project. Next slide, please. So these are the floor plans. Pretty straightforward on the left-hand side, the ground floor plan with the entire frontage along Cambridge Street occupied with real active uses. On the left-hand side, we have the lobby entrance to the building, and then the two purple areas adjacent to that going to the east are retail spaces along that frontage. So kind of really activating that entire experience there. The typical floor plan is on the right-hand side. It's this rough U shape that has double-loaded corridor, and then the units on that interior of the corridor overlook a second-level terrace. That's part of the amenity package for the units. We have the next slide, please. This is the comparison of the previous site plan on the left-hand side that had the two Emory site and the current site plan on the right side. So it's that one contiguous block condition. Both are the ground floor plans. Next slide, please. I just want to point out, I guess, some of the highlights on this slide. I don't want to necessarily read through all of them, although we can go back to it. It's the 200 unit count total. It's a mix of 1s, 2s, and 3s and studios. 171 market rate, 29 IDP units, associated residential amenity spaces. The ground floor retail, like we mentioned before, all along Cambridge Street, and usable open space on the tenant terraces on the second floor. And there's a rooftop tenant terrace area, as well as balconies over on the Cambridge Street elevation. Next slide, please. I just wanted to walk through some of the elevations here. So this is the Cambridge Street elevation. Again, the activated sidewalk all the way from left to right, east to west, with the residential lobby and the retail spaces. So creating kind of a real activated ground level experience there. We animate the elevations with balconies both on the within the mass of the elevation and also on the east and west corners, working with the city planning folks of creating articulations that really kind of highlight those corner conditions and make them meaningful urbanistic presence there. If we go to the next slide, please. I believe this is the Emery Street elevation. This one's a little funny because it's a bent elevation, so we're looking at the overall elevation kind of unfolded, but highlighting the first part before the bend. So again, one thing that we're dealing with is a significant street drop from Cambridge going north. So along Emery Road, it drops about a full story. So what we're able to do is tuck parking into that lower level. As you walk down that sidewalk condition, we introduce a series of vitrines, art vitrines, given opportunities to kind of animate that experience on the pedestrian level with something beyond just the building itself. So if we go to the next slide, this one is kind of the balance of that bent elevation. You can see the little key plan on the bottom. So this is where we have the entrance and exit to the parking over on the left, and a dedicated loading zone to the right of that immediately. And then next slide, please. And then this is the Rug Road elevation. This is where the two U's of the U-shaped building kind of project out. I think, it gives us the opportunity to give real massing relief by doing the U's. It makes it much more interesting, I think, urbanistically to have those ends. What we do is we use the ends of those as an opportunity to introduce these mural pieces. They're 4-story murals. We're looking to work with a group called Boston Artist Impact as a way to bring in a level of a nice interest within that elevation, as well as doing the vitrines as well along that as that sidewalk drops down along Rug Road. And then next slide. So the renderings, I think, kind of help tell the story a little better. So this is the one rendering looking along Cambridge, looking west. So we have kind of a good sense of what that ground floor retail along Cambridge looks like. We have those art pieces along the two ends over along Rug Road. And then using the balconies, both the recessed ones on the corners and the ones that pop out along Cambridge, it's just opportunities to help animate the overall elevation, keep it a little less monotonous, and then using some material changes to make a little meaningful distinction between some of the massing elements. And I think the last slide would be another rendered view, again, along Cambridge, looking back towards the east. And again, here it's focused on that corner condition with the residential lobby on the ground floor. And I think that's
Thanks, Steve. As we wrap up, we want to emphasize our commitment to the public realm and to Austin's creative identity. We plan on working with Austin Artist Impact to deliver a public mural on the elevation shown in the renderings that Steve just mentioned, ensuring that the building reflects the neighborhood's artistic culture and contributes to the community beyond its residential use. We are also making meaningful investments in the neighborhood through a $1 million contribution to the Austin Brighton Community Development Corporation. This funding will support housing, stability, economic opportunity, and community programs that directly benefit the Austin Brighton residents. We're also providing direct support to the Austin Village Main Streets to help strengthen local small businesses and reinforce the energy of the Cambridge Street commercial corridor. The project's ground floor retail will continue to activate the street, expand local amenities, and support long-term vitality of the corridor. Additionally, we'll be donating to the Penniman Road Play area, as well as we are also offering the tenants transit subsidies. Overall, this project advances the city's priorities around housing production, sustainability, urban design, and community investment. Just as important, it reflects a collaborative and responsive planning process, and we are proud of the partnership that has brought us to this point. And in closing, I would like to apologize for not introducing myself in the beginning. My name is George Ledwith, and I'm with Excordia Capital. My apologies. And with that, we'd like to open it up if there's any questions.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments for the board?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you, and thank you for the presentation. $240K in transit-related subsidies to residents. Can you talk that through a little bit more?
Yes, that would be a monthly transit card, or it hasn't been determined yet, but it is basically a monthly stipend that will be given to the tenants as long as they're not driving or parking, purchasing one of the parking spaces in the garage. It's try to promote non-vehicle, non-parking, and community transit.
I think it's a great idea, but I just want to get the mechanics, because this could be something that other folks do. So right now, you rent your unit, and you would rent a parking space as well?
I believe it's $20 a month for a 5-year period for each of the units, which adds up to a totality of $240K.
That's provided that every resident takes advantage of it.
Correct.
And $20 a month that's not going to get you a T-Pass.
It's
a couple of commuter
it's
rail
not meant
passes.
it's not meant to fully pay for the transit. It's meant to subsidize the transit card.
Listen, I get it. Okay, so this would be, to receive this, a resident would have to not take advantage of a parking
Correct.
spot. Or what if they owned a car and parked elsewhere?
Correct.
No, I'm
No,
asking.
they own it. We don't. Well, we wouldn't be able to monitor if they do own a car and
Okay,
park
yeah.
it elsewhere. So it's
Well,
I
think it's an intriguing idea. I don't mean, so I would just explore to see if perhaps there was a way to grow that from $20 to make it more of an incentive for these folks. There's, appreciate the artist live workspace, appreciate the heat pumps, appreciate the street trees. We've heard from a number of residents who've mentioned Alston Billiards, and I think you talked about it in your opening comments that you were working with the business. What does that mean? And are you helping them relocate, or what's the future of Alston Billiards? Because there are a lot of passionate pool sharks weighed in on it.
So Christine McMahon, our community contact, did meet with them earlier in the week. We understand that they do have a strong idea to stay there and to stay present. We do have some retail space on the first floor that is a viable option if they are looking to rent in there, but it's going to be at a different market rate, right, to be able to support. But it's something that we certainly present to them and have them look at. Otherwise, we can help them with finding other areas in the Austin area to move to. Even if they were to move into into the new building, there's going to be a 2.5-year gap while the building's being built. So they're going to have to relocate. No different than the towing that's in the back of located in 449, the towing company. And I think it was mentioned that they're also using 2 Emery. They have been on a month-to-month since I've been involved in the project since 2021, and they know that at one point they're going to have to move out. So they're going to move their whole operation. They wouldn't continue to use the 2 Emery as parking. And the same with the garage on the first floor. The owner of the building of 445 owns all that equipment.
Mm-hmm.
He would like all that equipment back. So the garage owner, the tenant that's in the garage also understands that they're going to have to relocate as well.
Yeah, and I understood. But a towing company isn't going to have the same passionate customers as a pool hall. So I appreciate any conversations you can have, whether it makes sense for them to remain there in the new project, or when you say help them find another place, maybe work with them, because I do think it's a great resource. So I appreciate your commitment to do that.
Thank you.
That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Additional questions or comments?
Yes, through the chair. Who have you been working with any general contractors during pre-construction? Are you looking at any general contractors for this project going forward?
The answer to the question is yes. And maybe one way to answer it is that we are currently up through schematic design drawing. So through our years of experience as a developer, we developed a budget based on square footage numbers. So we have now taken it out to some contractors to price it up to give us a overall number for the budget. We currently are out pricing it right now with 2 contractors. We've spoken to a 3rd contractor who's also interested in building it, a company we've done work with in the Providence market, or Rhode Island, in the city of Providence, and they're very interested in looking at it as well.
All right, thank you. And definitely, responsible contractors in the city of Boston is definitely number one priority. Contractors that are associated with accredited apprenticeships, because, that's a congested corner. You have the high school right up the street. You have young men and women that, potentially could try to join the trades. They would love to be a part of that project. So we'll love you to take that into consideration.
Okay, yes.
Thank you. Additional questions or comments? The only other thing that I wanted to point out and to recognize is the contribution to the Alston Brighton CDC. And they do a lot of, really great work. So appreciate that. All right, if there are no other questions or comments, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion approved. Congratulations. Good luck. All right, item number 11, request authorization to issue a certification of approval pursuant to Article 80E Small Project Review of the Zoning Code for the proposed construction of a hotel with 96 guest rooms and 4 off-street pickup, drop-off, and delivery car parking spaces located at 393 Cambridge Street, and to enter into a community benefits agreement and to take all related actions. Stephen.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Madam Secretary, and Director Shen. My name is Stephen Harvey, and I'm a Senior Project Manager at the City of Boston Planning Department. And I want to thank you for your time today. The project proposal I bring before you today is 393 Cambridge Street, located in Alston. Next slide, please. On August 11, 2025, the Planning Department received a small project review application from the proponent. The proponent is proposing to construct a 63-foot, 7-story hotel with 96 guest rooms and up to 4 parking spaces. A virtual public meeting was held on September 30th, 2025. The meeting was advertised in the local paper, posted on the Planning Department webpage, and a notification was emailed to all subscribers of the Planning Department Alston email list. The public comment period ended on October 10th, 2025. I'd also like to mention that this is the first hotel being passed at the board that is net zero carbon compliant in accordance with the revisions to Article 37. With that, I would like to pass it over to the review team, leading with the project planner.
Thanks, Stephen. My name is Ilana Hames, and I'm the planner assigned to this project. The proposed project is located in the Harvard Avenue Community Commercial Subdistrict within the Alston Brighton Neighborhood District. The site is located at the corner of Wilton Street and Cambridge Street and is surrounded by 2 parcels, one facing Wilton Street and the other one facing Cambridge Street, together creating an L shape around the proposed development site. These 2 parcels are part of the 2021 BPDA approved project, Alston Square, which you saw recently for an NPC, which will be a mixed-use development of rental and commercial space. Next slide, please. The Brighton Guest Street Study Area Planning Study establishes a framework and urban design guidelines for a transit-oriented mixed-use district featuring vibrant community uses and residential development for the previously underutilized 100-acre Brighton Guest Street district. Although the parcel under review technically falls outside of this planned study area, the parcel is located right at the edge of this area on Cambridge Street, which is a key neighborhood connector. This study provides planning and urban design guidelines that have been taken into consideration during the review of this project, including the utility of Cambridge Street as a north-south neighborhood connection and an active edge. The proposed project also complies with the Alston Brighton Mobility Plan by creating additional sidewalk dimension on Cambridge Street that aligns with the Complete Streets guidelines and improves mobility for all users. The dimensions of the proposed project, while not aligned with existing zoning, are reflective of the evolving context of the neighborhood and the activation of the Cambridge Street section of the Harvard Avenue Community Commercial Subdistrict. Thank you, and I will now turn it over to Eric from our urban design team to present the project in more detail.
Hi, I'm Eric Boatwright, the primary urban design reviewer for the project. We appreciate the time and the effort the development team is committed to the design, working intensively with planning to refine the concept for the project. Through our collaboration, we've arrived at a solution that maximizes the project enhancement of the urban environment. Improvements for pedestrians include removing the existing curb cut along Cambridge Street and providing a raised crosswalk and ADA-compliant curb ramps at the intersection of Cambridge Street and Wilton Street. The project will widen sidewalks on Cambridge and Wilton, with design complying with our Complete Streets guidelines. The proponent has also committed to the added measure of coordinating the design of this site with the adjacent project at 8 Wilton, Alston Square, providing an additional pedestrian way from Cambridge Street to Wilton Street, providing more of a pedestrian network around the building. Drivers will be able to enter the site on Wilton Street, the less busy street, via an existing curb cut for loading, temporary parking, and valet parking, all located underneath the building. Next slide, please. The Cambridge Street facade features a main volume aligned to coordinate with the approved project to the west, creating a plaza at the main entry. From the main entrance, the building extends closer to the street with a secondary volume that forms a curve around to Wilton Street. The top of this volume establishes a line around the perimeter of the building, breaking the mass of the building at the elevation of the 7th floor, mitigating the building's perceived height. The bottom of this volume features cantilevers and canopies, providing cover for pedestrians and a well-defined base for the main volume of the building. The ground floor will be dedicated almost entirely to active uses, serving as a lobby and lounge for the hotel, providing a new social amenity for Alston. Thank you.
Thank you again for your time today. Happy to answer any questions put forward by the board.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments from the board? All right, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, motion passes. Thank you. Okay, item number 12, request authorization to issue a certification of approval pursuant to Article 80E Small Project Review of the Zoning Code for the proposed construction of 26 residential homeownership units, including 4 IDP units, 9 car parking spaces, and 27 bicycle parking spaces, located at 1954 Commonwealth Avenue, and to execute a community benefits agreement and to take all related actions. Dylan.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Madam Secretary, and Director Shen. My name is Dylan Norris, and I'm a project manager in the Development and Review Division of the Planning Department. The proposal before you is 1954 Commonwealth Avenue, an Article 80E small project located in the Brighton neighborhood of Boston. Small project review application was filed on June 30th, 2025. The Planning Department held a public meeting on September 25th, 2025, which was appropriately advertised, and the extended comment period concluded on October 2nd. Since the conclusion of the comment period, the proponent has continued their community engagement efforts by meeting with local community groups. Next slide. The proposed project is seeking approval for the adaptive reuse of the existing historic home on site and the construction of a 5-story residential addition in the rear yard. The project will contain 26 homeownership units, including 4 inclusionary zoning units ranging from 1 and 2 bedrooms. Of the 4 units, 2 units will be made available for households with incomes no greater than 80% AMI, and 2 units will be available for households with incomes no greater than 100% AMI. The project will also propose 9 interior subsurface parking spaces and 27 secure bike parking spaces. The proponent has also committed to making sidewalk and public realm improvements, closing unnecessary curb cuts, installing new street trees, and contributing $7,000 to the Boston Transportation Department for the bike share program. At this time, I'm happy to turn it over to Alana Hames from the planning team to discuss the planning context for the project. Thank you.
Thanks, Dylan. My name is Ilana Hames, and I'm the planner assigned to this project. The proposed project is located within the Alston-Brighton Neighborhood District within a multifamily residential subdistrict. The project parcel is also within the Greenbelt Protection Overlay District, the Aberdeen Architectural Conservation District, and subject to review by the Boston Landmarks Commission. The project is directly adjacent to the Chestnut Hill Reservation property, which is managed by the Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation. Due to this proximity, the project will be subject to Parks Design Review per Ordinance 7.4-11. Next slide, please. The proposed project has a long history with the Article 80 process and the Zoning Board of Appeal. This project history dates back to 2010, when a variance was granted on March 23rd of that year. Furthermore, the design of this project was informed by its location within several overlay districts and planning study areas. Design should be contextual with the Aberdeen Historic District and meet visual and environmental characteristics consistent with Parks Design Review and the GPOD overlay set by proximity to Commonwealth Avenue. The proposed project aligns with the outcomes of the Alston-Brighton Needs Assessment adopted by the board in January 2024 by subdividing an existing building into additional housing units and adding several more units to the rear of the proposed relocated building in line with the goals of creating more housing while preserving the unique character of the neighborhood. Thank you, and I will now turn it over to Marco from the Urban Design Team to present the project in more detail.
Thank you, Alana. My name is Marco Sanchez, landscape architect. I'm the site realm reviewer for the project. The building is set towards Commonwealth Avenue and retains its historic retaining wall at the back of sidewalk. An existing street tree will be preserved and a new street tree introduced to reinforce the streetscape. While the existing structure is moved forward to accommodate a large addition at the rear, a generous front setback is retained. An accessible ramp is integrated in a manner that respects the architectural and neighborhood context to provide access to the site. At the rear, additional setbacks will protect trees on adjacent parcels. The program includes off-street parking for 9 vehicles, including 1 van-accessible ADA space, accessed through a new 12-foot curb cut. Next slide, please. Can we go to the next slide? The existing early 20th century Spanish colonial revival structure will be retained and move forward on the site. Its porte-cochere will be reconstructed and move forward as well. The existing building will be restored with a new 5-story addition at the rear. The addition will be clad in stucco to match the existing structure, with additional Spanish colonial revival detailing adorning the addition, though in a simplified form. Given the site's location in the Aberdeen Architectural Conservation District, staff will continue to collaborate with the Commission's staff as well as with the Commission itself as we work through post-board design review. Thank you. Dylan?
Thank you, Marco. This concludes our presentation for this item. We do have the development team available to answer any questions you may have, and I thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments from the board?
No questions, Madam Chair, just a comment, and that's one of my New Year's resolutions is to support more projects that are interesting and unique, not sort of the boxy ones that we often see. So well done to the team and to the design team online for keeping that Spanish-style architecture and building on it. Just it looks sharp. We need to be more unique in what we build in the city, and it's just really exciting to see. So I'm gratified for that and look forward to supporting this project.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, item number 13, request authorization to issue a certification of approval pursuant to Article 80E Small Project Review of the Zoning Code in connection with the proposed project notice of project change for the addition of 2 residential units located at 38 Hitchborn Street and to take all related actions. Stephen.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Madam Secretary, and Director Shen. My name is Stephen Harvey, and I'm a Senior Project Manager at the City of Boston Planning Department, and thank you for your time this evening. The proposal I bring for you today is 38 Hitchborn Street, located in Brighton. On December 5th, 2025, we received a Notice of Project Change, NPC, for the 38 Hitchborn Street proposal, originally approved on February 10th, 2022. The approved project proposed to construct a 5-story building with 24 rental units and a ground floor commercial space and 8 off-street parking spaces on a 3,976 square foot lot. In the Notice of Project Change NPC filing, the proponent is seeking to add 2 rental units to the ground floor. The NPC would also rearrange the commercial space, increase the unit count for the originally approved 24 units, and increase it to 26 units, as well as eliminate parking. The Notice of Project Change was posted on the Planning Department webpage, and a notification was emailed to all subscribers of the Planning Department's Brighton email list. The public comment period ended on October 10th, 2025. It ended on January 10th, 2025. Sorry, apologies. And lastly, I would like to thank Councilor Breeden for her support of the project change. With that, if there are any questions, I will gladly take them.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? All right, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thanks. Item number 14 has been removed. Item number 15, request authorization to issue a scoping determination waiving further review pursuant to Article 80B Large Project Review of the Zoning Code with proposed creation of 66 memory care units and 41 income-restricted residential rental units for seniors located at 434 Jamaica Way, also known as the Rogerson-Beaufort Project, and to enter into a cooperation agreement and to take all related actions. Camille.
Good afternoon, almost evening, and thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Madam Secretary, and Director Shen. My name is Camille Platt-DaCosta. I'm a Senior Project Manager here in the Development Review Department. The proposal before you today is located at 434 Jamaica Way in the Jamaica Plain neighborhood of Boston, an Article 80B large project, also known as the Rogerson-Beaufort Project. The letter of intent for the project was filed on August 13th of 2024, and the subsequent project notification form was filed on December 20th of 2024. The Planning Department held an initial public meeting on February 6th of 2025, which was appropriately advertised, and the extended comment period concluded on February 14th of 2025. Since the conclusion of the comment period, additional meetings were hosted by the proponent team, and another subsequent Article 80 public meeting was held on November 12th of 2025, which was duly advertised and very well attended. The project received approval by the Boston Civic and Design Commission on December 2nd of 2025. The proponent team went through an extensive coordinated redesign of the project in response to city and community feedback regarding the massing of the proposed building, which was improved throughout the review period, along with enhanced site design and access. The proposed project will be located on a Rogerson Communities property in Jamaica Plain that is currently the home of a 66-bed licensed assisted living memory care community and a social day program for seniors with memory loss. On an undeveloped portion at the rear of the property, the proponent will develop a single building that will replace the memory care community and the social day program and will add affordable housing for seniors. This project will consist of adding 41 units of income-restricted rental housing, along with that one-to-one replacement of 66 memory care beds. The residential units include all one-bedrooms, of which will benefit from Rogerson Communities' full offerings of supportive services for seniors. At this time, I'm happy to turn over to Ford Del Vecchio from the planning team to discuss the planning context for the project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Camille. I'm Ford Del Vecchio. I'm the planning reviewer assigned to this project. Next slide, please. Perfect. Preservation of the existing front setback from the Jamaica Way establishes the primary organizing principle for open space, building footprint, and site circulation. By locating all alterations to the rear of the existing front yard, the design does not trigger Greenbelt Protection Overlay District conditional use permit requirements, nor does it trigger ordinances 7410 and 7411 for projects within 100 feet of the parkway, nor does it violate Ordinance 7412, which requires a 25-foot setback from the Jamaica Way. Next slide, please. To overcome the site's additional spatial constraints created by the existing memory care building's large footprint, the new design places the updated memory care program at the building's base to allow for a secured courtyard and vital natural light. Consequently, the independent living floors have been shifted towards the southern side of the structure to allow it to optimize the layout while maintaining high-quality open space areas. The proposed project's use mix, building design, and open space plan are consistent with citywide housing planning policy goals while being responsive to the local context, multifamily residential zoning subdistrict, and adjacent Greenbelt Protection Overlay District. Thank you, and I will now turn over to the development team to go over the project in more detail.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Philippe Saad. I'm a principal at the Malin Schaefer Architects, and I've been working with the client for the past few years on the site. So this is an aerial view of the project, of the site itself. Next, please. And when we zoom in a little bit more, it gives you a better idea of what exists currently on site. This is Rogerson House. It is a licensed memory care assisted living community. There are two buildings that have been built over the past 50 to 60 years. The initial Rogerson House along Jamaica Way, and a two-story addition below the text that says existing memory care. Part of the redevelopment is also the smaller house that is highlighted in the smaller dashed area that sits along Beaufort Road. And all these two properties will compose the overall site of our project. The dashed line on the right-hand side is a 24-foot wide easement to Center Street. Next, please. An aerial photograph of the context. It gives you an idea of how diverse the architectural context in this area is. It goes from larger townhomes, brownstone-looking buildings to 7 stories, apartment complex, into 2 families and single families. Next, please. So a lot of us know Rogerson House through this iconic view of their 1957 building built along the Jamaica Way. It is not accessible by car, nor traffic, nor service from the Jamaica Way. The majority of the entirety of the campus is accessible, vehicular accessible from Beaufort Road. Next, please. This is a view of Beaufort Road that connects Center Street with our site. On the right-hand side is the parking lot that is the first part of the larger site that we are redeveloping. And at the end of Beaufort Road is the entrance, the formal entrance to the site itself. On the left-hand side are the 3 stories brick condominium buildings. Next, please. And then as we walk into the site, this is how the 1957 building on the left-hand side appears as people walk up to it. And then on the right-hand side is the 2-story memory care that will be subject to demolition, part of the proposal. Next. Top left side of the slide is the existing conditions, and you can see that the site is significantly occupied with existing buildings. So in order to build new as a replacement to the aging memory care facility the client has on site, we have to build in the open space towards the rear of the site, which is called phase 1, and then demolish the 2-story antiquated building that sits in the center of the site, and then complete the campus in what we call phase 2. In front of you, the proposal is only for phase 1. However, we have been giving the community and the board a full view of the whole idea for the site moving forward. Next. Because the program is complex, we put together this exploded axonometric to explain how things stack. The first 3 stories are memory care. They occupy a large footprint, and they have the open, secured courtyard inside the donut shape. And then on level 4, 5, and 6 are stacked the independent living affordable housing on top. You will notice that the top 2 floors are significantly smaller than the first 4 stories. This has been the result of many conversations with the community over the past 2 years to really create a project that satisfies everyone in the community. So that's why the top 2 stories are really set back from Beaufort Road, and they will not appear as from a pedestrian perspective. Next. Looking at the landscape plan of the all site when it's fully built, you will see Beaufort Road on the bottom right-hand side. It's the main access to the site. As a vehicular drop-off and visitors, we will enter the site through this gateway, and drop the passengers on the right-hand side where they will enter the building on the first floor. We've also highlighted a residential entrance along Beaufort Road for the pedestrian only, who people come from Center Street and the T and want to access the building. In between the two, Phase 1 and Phase 2, will be a fully developed green space to be used by the building residents, but also, just like the front lawn along Jamaica Way is open to the community, this large courtyard will be in majority open to the community. And I say in majority is because parts of it towards the top of the page is a secured courtyard for memory care. And this needs to be secured for the security of the residents. Next. So if we start looking at the building and how it nestles into the context, this is an elevation of the building along Beaufort Road. On the right-hand side of the top elevation is the Forbes building, that is our immediate neighbor. 7 stories. Our building is 4 stories along Beaufort Road, more in line with the condominium across the street. However, the recessed portion of the 5th and 6th floor appear in gray further back from the street. The building is clad in masonry, thin brick, in a repetitive pattern that has been inspired by the architecture, the historic architecture of Boston. We've introduced the arches and the regularity of the windows, again, as a nod to the historic fabric of the neighborhood. The image, the section elevation at the bottom is a section through the site where you can start to see the relationship between the masonry building along Beaufort Road and the existing condominium across from us. The rest of the site is in gray rendered, which will be non-masonry in fiber cement siding. Next. A little bit more of the section across the site, noticing the relationships between the buildings, especially the section at the bottom, where you see the 3 stories historic condominiums mirroring the 4-story building that we're putting along Beaufort Road. And then that's a section through the courtyard. That's the open space where that will be in majority open to the public. Next. Site section, we have studied daylight and views from the street and from neighbors' apartments. The courtyard has been designed in particular to allow sunlight to come in for the majority of the day for those who reside in the memory care. Next. And then the last views are the 3-dimensional renderings that we have. This is from the corner of Beaufort Road and Lakeville, looking back at our building. The historic condominium on the right-hand side. You will notice the planted buffer between the historic buildings and the sidewalk, and how we have taken as well a similar landscape approach to really buffer our building from the street. The repetitive fluted brick expression, again, echoes the fluted expression of the historic Back Bay and the historic architecture of Boston as well. And the brick color is intended to complement the deep burgundy brick across the street from us. Next. That's a view from Center Street approaching our building. Again, in a similar way, how the building echoes what's across from it. And you will notice that the 5th and the 6th floor barely are apparent as a pedestrian from the street. So we have worked very hard with city officials and the neighbors to really come to this resolution in here. Next, please. And that's a close-up to the building entrance, the planted buffer, as well as the detail that is incorporated into the masonry that adds this richness and this texture to the 4-story masonry building on site. Next. And that's my last slide. It's as if you are on the Jamaica Way, looking at the 1957 building on the first building on the left-hand side with the 2 chimney-like protrusions, and then phase 2, and then phase 1, which is in question in front of you all in the back. And that will conclude my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, questions or comments from the board?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the work on my prior public service iteration. I work very closely with Rogerson. They do amazing work. And clearly the need for critical care, memory care facilities is something we need. So I know we all celebrate that. It's a good looking project, particularly phase 2. I really like that masonry and the curvature. It looks nice. this began when I was in office, and I know neighbors raised a lot of concerns. We had a lot of chatter about it, probably the most, I think I counted 150 individual communications we've received on this project. The development team has done a yeoman's work addressing many of the concerns of the neighbors. So I wonder if you want to just very briefly, you touched upon it in your remarks, or maybe if someone from the department wants to, but talk about ways you're able to address some valid concerns of the neighbors to make this a better project that we're now seeing hearing a lot more support from abutters.
Sure, I'll try to remember 2 years of discussion with the neighborhood. But initially, the building was 7 stories, and it was 70 units of independent living and then 66 beds of memory care. So throughout this conversation, the building has been transformed to really end with 66 memory care, which is essential to the program of the client, replacement one-to-one. But the density of the housing and the height of the building has been brought down from 7 stories to 6. However, the 5 and 6, as I said, really recede back. Yeah. And also the number of units and the density has really been reduced from 71, I think we started, into now 41 units of senior independent living. We've also discussed many with the neighborhood about the access. Their concern was drop off and pick up along Beaufort Road. Hence, we have enhanced the entrance off-site, on-site. So now vehicular will drop off their loved ones or pick up people off Beaufort Road to alleviate traffic as well as trash and deliveries and all that. That will no longer plan to be happening along Beaufort Road, but will be in the site, just like the operations right now is functioning for the existing building.
Great. No, I think that covers it. And again, this is a very, very important project. I'm glad to now be able to have an opportunity to vote on it. And I think that whenever we can, any development team can engage in good faith with neighbors, you're going to get the outcome that we've seen here today. So I know Chief Shen is always interested in my favorite project of the meeting, and this is it. So congratulations.
So far. Through the chair, a quick question. Is this a 5/1 podium, or is it wood frame, or is it a structural steel project?
It is structural steel because it has memory care on 3 floors, and then the residential could be wood, but it doesn't. We're exploring it as a full steel frame construction.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Additional questions or comments? All right, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Congratulations. Thank you. Good luck. All right. Item number 16, request authorization to issue a scoping determination waiving further review pursuant to Article 80B, large project review of the zoning code for the proposed creation of 52 residential rental units, 35 car parking spaces, 56 bicycle parking spaces, and approximately 3,700 square feet of commercial space located at 841 Morton Street, and to enter into a cooperation agreement and to take all related actions. Tyler.
Good evening, and thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Secretary Polimis, and Director Shen. My name is Tyler Ross. I'm a Senior Project Manager in the Development Review Division. The proposal before you is 841 Morton Street, an Article 80 large project located in the Mattapan neighborhood. On January 8th, 2025, the developer filed a project notification form for the project. The proposed project consists of the construction of a 5-story mixed-use building approximately 66,527 square feet, comprising of 52 units with just over 3,700 square feet of retail space on the ground floor and 35 parking spaces. The project will also provide 56 bicycle spaces for residents and 20% affordable housing on site, equaling 11 inclusionary zoning units. The project also committed to $20,000 in community benefits to the local community organizations. Additionally, the planning department hosted 3 IAG and public meetings, January 29th, 2025, June 17th, 2025, and December 17th of 2025, all of which were well attended and advertised in local newspapers. With that, I will now turn it over to Michelle from the Planning Division to discuss the planning context for this project before Derek from the development team begins the presentation. Lastly, I want to say thank you to all the members of the public, elected officials, and city agencies who helped review the proposed 841 Morton Street project.
Thank you, Tyler. My name is Michelle Yee, and I'm the planner assigned to this project. The proposed project at 841 Morton Street is located within the Squares and Streets S2 Main Street Mixed-Use District. This zoning district was informed by the use and dimensional recommendations of Plan Mattapan, which was adopted by the BPDA Board in May 2023 and codified into zoning in May 2024. Plan Mattapan was a community-driven planning initiative focused on housing stability and affordability, improving transit access, and creating active main streets that reflect the neighborhood's identity. The S2 Main Street Mixed-Use District will help create a small to medium-scale mixed-use district near the MBTA Morton Street commuter rail station and promote a continuous and active main street through one of Mattapan's main travel corridors. Plan Mattapan also proposed expanding Boston's green links to improve walking and biking routes to better connect to open space and neighborhood destinations. The proposed project supports this goal by creating the pedestrian path along the east side of the site, lined with active ground floor uses. This path will help create a safe and welcoming public realm as envisioned in the plan, while strengthening connections to nearby open spaces and transportation assets. Next slide, please. Okay. Because this area was rezoned in 2024, the bar for zoning relief is high. Except for maximum building width, the proposed project otherwise complies with all the updated zoning parameters for use and dimensional requirements. This project proposes a building with a 261 feet and 10 inches, which is well above the 150-foot maximum in the S2 Main Street Mixed-Use District. However, as the planner, I recommend zoning relief for maximum building width. It is consistent with the criteria of Section 7-3 of the zoning code due to the highly irregular dimensions of the lot. As you can see, the proposed lot, highlighted in red, is notably larger and wider than the surrounding parcels, with a lot width of 278 feet. No other zoning relief is appropriate. To reduce the visual impact of the wider building, the building's design, developed in collaboration with staff, breaks up the appearance of a long, uninterrupted block in a manner consistent with the planning goals. The proposed project will also bring public realm and sidewalk improvements, including the previously mentioned pedestrian path, which supports the site permeability goals. Additionally, the sidewalks were designed to ensure consistency with complete street guidelines and will include many new street trees that will enhance the pedestrian experience. Thank you, and now I'll turn it over to the development team to present the project in more detail.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, Secretary Polimis, Director Shen, Attorney Derek Small for the project. With me today as part of the development team, we have the architect, Mr. Doug Stefanoff, and we have the owner of the property, Mr. Akmal Moed, in the rear. And I think virtually we have Mitch Fishman from MLF Consultants. We have Krista Lucas from Howard Stein Hudson, and we have Natalie Adams from Verdant, who is our landscape architect. We're here today seeking approval for our development project at 841 Morton Street. And the project is to demolish the existing gas station that's currently on the site and erect a 5-story mixed-use building for 52 residential units, 35 parking spaces, and ground floor retail and commercial space. I'll turn it over and let the architect, Doug Stefanoff, go through the program. Doug?
Thank you, Derek. Madam Chair, members of the board, Doug Stefanoff, architect with a residence and business at 93 F Street, South Boston. So thank you for your time today, and thank you for this public process. Through the last over a year, actually before the new S2 zoning was started, we started this project and adapted the project you'll see today to that current zoning. And with the assistance of the planning department, we think we've come up with a nice 52-unit residential mixed-use building, relatively simple. It's a platform. It's 4/1, adhering to all the zoning bylaws except for the length. As you can see, it's a long site. It's a 23,000 square foot lot, which is currently the gas station. Next slide, please. So just to briefly show you, it's been a gas station run by Akmal Moeb, here present today, for the 25 years or so, thereabouts, on Morton Street. Very busy street, as you probably know. And behind it is actually quite a nice neighborhood. So we, or at least I think of this building as providing some shielding and protection and for the neighborhood behind, because the three streets around it become landscape, next slide, please, and really contribute to the neighborhood. So you can see, here's our landscape plan done by Verdant Architects. And we've got increased sidewalks on Morton, Norfolk to the left, and Flint, which is to the bottom of the page. There's actually a community garden across the street. So as you'll see, Flint Street ends up being a very nice pedestrian street that's landscape, trees. Our vehicular access point is on the lower right-hand corner, and the walkway that transcends from Flint up to Morton is there on the right side of the page. Next slide, please. I'm just going to run through some perspectives that I've done. Materials, we have a combination of terracotta and porcelain cladding, brick, vertical siding. So it's a palette of materials, you know, working closely with the planning department to scale down the building so it doesn't seem to be as long and, you know, let's say not monotonous, but it has some variety to it. So next slide, please. This is the view on Morton Street going to the left and Norfolk to the right. So that's our primary access. So that's our kind of like our highest point. We have commercial, over 3,500 square feet of commercial space on the ground floor, primarily on that corner. It's not dedicated as of yet. And we're going to try to landscape as much of Morton Street as possible as it moves down to it. The train station is just at the end of the page. It's about a 50-foot walk from the building, which is really very nice. And that was recently modernized. So it has ramps and it's fully accessible. It's quite nice. Next slide, please. This is the view of from Morton with the green link, if you will, that connects Flint to Morton on the left. There's 9 feet of grade change, so that's the reason for the ramp system. But that would be a combination, probably a gray brick, which you see. And the 5th story is pulled back, bless you, from the floor below to scale the building down. Next slide, please. Just some streetscapes, which we're all very pleased with. So this is the view on Flint. So there's a variety of both trees and then pocket landscaping, a large bike room accessible right off the street. Next slide, please. That's our commercial space. We have 2 entrances because the building has 2 facades. So this is the Flint Street entrance, which we really think is the main entrance of the building, a spacious lobby, and it opens to the commercial space to the left. We have a 2-level garage. So drive-in garage to the right that then descends to the basement below on the commercial side on the left. Next slide, please. Some elevations. So it's a mixture of 1, 2, and 3, but mostly 2 and 3 bedroom units. We have 12 3-bedroom units that are located on the ends of the building. There's some singles just above the entrance but they're just like 750 square foot single bedrooms, which is nice. And the rest are 2 bedrooms, has a small roof deck for the residents, and lots of glazing, windows, and light and air for the residents. Next slide, please. Oh, and that's kind of the summary of what you've already been presented. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board?
I'll ask one through the chair. When it comes to the units, home ownership, there's no opportunity for home ownership.
Well, as you know,
and I asked that, sorry, I
Yeah.
just want to make sure I make it clear that I asked that question, so maybe you can explain to the public a little bit
Do you want
the
to
rhyme
take
and
it?
reasons.
Okay, Derek.
Yeah, so we've been marketing these as rental units. We looked at home ownership, but it just doesn't pencil out. The financing would be too difficult, and I know that Mr. Muwad wants to keep the property in his family. And so that, for those reasons, we were sticking with the rental.
Instead of the gas station, I would love to see units over there, because the gas station has changed names quite a few times. A lot of paint, a lot of paint.
Additional questions or comments? I just want to, appreciate and call out the landscaping and the trees, and, I'm really looking forward to, I live off that street, so, just greening up that street. And also the concentration of 2 and 3 bedrooms, units, again, much appreciated and needed within the city and in our Mattapan neighborhood. All right, so any other questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, motion passes. Congratulations, good luck. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'm recusing for this next one.
Okay. Should we take it? We're going to take it. Item number 17, request authorization to issue a determination waiving further review pursuant to Article 80A of the zoning code in connection with the notice of project change for the proposed construction of 63 fully affordable residential rental units located at 639 Warren Street, and to take all related actions. Camille.
Good evening, and thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Madam Secretary, and Director Shen. My name is Camille Platt-DaCosta. I'm a Senior Project Manager on the Development Review Team. The expedited notice of project change we are seeking approval for this evening was filed on October 31st of 2025. A public meeting is held at the request of an elected official only. No request was made during the comment period for the notice of project change. The comment period subsequently ended on December 1st of 2025. The approved project is an 81,000 square foot mixed-use new construction development with a mix of commercial and residential units, including 63 housing units, which will be income restricted, as well as approximately 2,000 square feet of ground floor commercial space. Open space and parking spaces for both residential and commercial use will be located behind the building. The change to the approved project is altering the housing program from a mix of rental and homeownership units, originally approved as 54 rental and 9 homeownership units, to all 63 units as residential rental units. This concludes the request. Council on the project, as well as members of the proponent team, are on to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments from the board? Can you just give some background as to, why the change from homeowner, from removing the homeownership units?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, Secretary Polimus, Director Shen, Attorney Nick Zazula, McDermott, Quilty, Miller, and Hanley. Very quickly, it's an all-affordable project. The proponent included the 9 home ownership units, and this was approved in February of last year. So after that was approved, the Mayor's Office of Housing, in their funding rounds coming up, removed funding for home ownership units. So in essence, the funding was not there. So because of the financial challenges of this is Madison Park, they are an all-affordable housing developer, long time in the neighborhood. And without public funds to build the affordable home ownership, they still included the 9 units. They didn't get rid of them. They just transferred them over from home ownership programming to rental. So they'll still be there, but that's really the only reason why.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Additional questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you very much. So we're going to do one more. Item number 18. Request authorization to issue director's determination pursuant to Section 80A-6 of the zoning code in connection with a notice of project change for the proposed change of ownership and the proposed conversion of 55 income-restricted rental units for the project located at 1208C Veterans of Foreign Wars Parkway. Stephen.
Good evening, and thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Madam Secretary, and Director Shen. My name is Stephen Harvey, and I'm a Senior Project Manager at the City of Boston Planning Department, and thank you for your time this evening. The proposal I bring before you today is 1208C VFW Parkway, located in West Roxbury. On December 5th, 2025, we received the Notice of Project Change, NPC, for the 1208C VFW Parkway proposal. The approved project at 1208C VFW Parkway in West Roxbury was approved for 55 residential rental units, with 9 of those units being affordable/IDP units, and a maximum of 55 off-street parking spaces. The Notice of Project Change filing proposes an all-affordable proposal with 55 rental units and 55 off-street parking. The notice of project change was posted on the Planning Department's website, and a notification was emailed to all subscribers of the BPDA's Planning Department's West Roxbury email list. The public comment period ended on January 9th, 2025. Thank you once again for your time today, and delighted to answer any questions from the board.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board? All right, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, or no, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, motion passes. Thank you. Okay, and so it is now exactly 5:30, so we're going to take a brief 5-minute break before the public hearing. See you. We're now starting the public hearing session of the meeting. So this is a public hearing before the Boston Redevelopment Authority, doing business as the Boston Planning and Development Agency, being held in conformance with Articles 80A-2, 80B-5, and 80C-5 of the Boston Zoning Code, to consider the proposed third amended and restated development plan for Planned Development Area Number 50, 371 through 401 D Street in the South Boston neighborhood, and to issue a scoping determination waiving further review for the proposed 15-story, approximately 438-room hotel and the changes to the existing hotel located at 391 to 395 D Street in connection with the development plan filed by DGH Hotel Partners, JV, LLC on June 30th, 2025, and as described in the Article 80B Large Project Review Project Notification Form filed by the proponent on October 9th, 2025. And also to approve the proposed project as a development impact project within the meaning of Section 80B-7 of the code. This hearing was duly advertised on January 5th, 2026. This is a BPDA hearing on a proposed petition by the agency. Staff members will first present their case and are subject to questioning by the members of the agency. Thereafter, anyone who wishes to testify about the proposed project will be afforded an opportunity. We are taking support and opposition at the same time, so if you're planning to testify via Zoom, please take time now to verify that your computer microphone is active and click on the hand icon on your Zoom control panel. This will signal to the staff that you would like to speak, and when your hand is raised, it will be blue. If you're calling into the meeting and would like to testify, please dial *9 to raise your hand. When I call for all testimony, staff will announce your name and allow you to talk. You must unmute your microphone and your webcam will not be active. If you are planning to testify in person in the boardroom, please line up behind the podium after the presentation is concluded and we will call on you. In an effort to accommodate all who would like to speak about this proposal, each person will be given up to 2 minutes to comment. BPDA staff will indicate when 30 seconds remain, and at that time, please conclude your remarks so that the hearing may continue and others may be heard. Finally, the proponents are allowed a period of 5 to 10 minutes for rebuttal if they desire. The Open Public Meeting Law requires that we ask if there is anyone in the audience who's recording this meeting. You please identify yourself. Okay, seeing none. And also please note that no demonstrations of approval and disapproval from members of the public are permitted during the meeting. Tyler.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Secretary Polimis, and Director Shen. My name is Tyler Ross. I'm a Senior Project Manager in the Development Review Division. The proposal before you is the third amended and restated development plan to PDA number 50, a large project located at 391 D Street in the neighborhood of South Boston. On June 30th, 2025, the proponent filed the third amended and restated development plan, which included the proposed large project located at 391 D Street. The project notification form for the 391 D Street large project was filed on October 9th, 2025. The proposed project entails the construction of a new 15-story, 438-room hotel of approximately 160 gross square feet. The project's vehicular parking will be accommodated through the existing surface parking lot at the project site. And additionally, this modification will result in an amendment to the original PDA number 50, increasing the maximum key count from 510 to 530 rooms within the existing Aloft and Element hotels. Lastly, the Planning Department hosted 2 IAG and public meetings on August 19, 2025 and November 3, 2025, all of which were well attended and advertised in local newspapers. The proponent also worked with local elected officials to garner support for the amended and restated development plan to the PDA number 50 and large project. I will now turn it over to Ford to go over the planning context before Joe Hanley from the development team presents. Thank you to the members of the public, elected officials, and city agencies who helped review this project.
Thank you, Tyler. My name is Ford Del Vecchio. I am the plan reviewer covering this project for Jason McDonald, who's currently on the Planning Department Injured Reserve. The proposed project will be the third amendment to the development plan for planned area development area number 50, located in the South Boston Neighborhood Zoning District's D Street Neighborhood Development Area Subdistrict, governed by Article 68 of the Zoning Code. The proposed project is also located in the Coastal Flood Resiliency Overlay District, governed by Article 25. The proposed project is consistent with PDA 50, which in turn is consistent with the original vision for a convention center district established by the Boston Redevelopment Authority's 1999 Seaport Public Plan. The proposed amendment will allow for a new 14-story hotel with a gross floor area of approximately 150,000 square feet to be developed adjacent to the existing hotels described in the PDA overlay. The new square footage added with the existing on-site would total approximately 478,645 square feet, which is under the maximum gross square foot area of 899,000 square feet listed in the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment does not prescribe other dimensional limitations to the overall site besides the mentioned GFA. No new uses will be introduced to the PDA. The project is subject to further design review from the planning department, focused particularly on the compliance with sea fraud flood resiliency requirements. Thank you, and I will now turn it over to Joe Hanley to present the project in more detail.
Thank you, Ford. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Secretary Polhemus, Director Shen, Attorney Joe Hanley, here on behalf of the proponent, DGH Hotel Partners, a joint venture. We're joined remotely by Grant Nassif from the proponent. Mark Rosenshine is also with me from Trademark Partners and our team who worked on this new hotel project. I'd like to just take you through a little bit of a background here and then hand it off to Mark to show you how this comes together in plan view. But before I do that, I would like to thank Tyler and of course the staff of the BPD for all of their guidance on this very exciting hospitality development opportunity, the members of the Impact Advisory Group who served and helped guide this project, as well as the South Boston community and their local elected officials. In particular, I know Councilor Flynn was here earlier speaking in support, and we thank him for his time and his leadership on this. It's a very exciting opportunity, and just first to bring you to the site itself, which you'll see on the plan. Plan up in the big bar there, that is the Thomas M. Menino Convention Center. Just beneath it is the lawn on D, it's outdoor space. The artery there is D Street, and you will see in the reddish orange circle, that is the site where we're proposing this hotel that's before you tonight. Next slide, please. This is part of a campus, if you will, or an assembly of property that is under long-term lease with the Massachusetts Convention Center Authority. It includes 2 existing hotels, which our client owns and operates, that you'll see there. It's the Element and the Aloft, as well as the MCCA's surface parking lot. And there is a section which we'll show you, which is for the third hotel to complement the 2 that are there, again, that our client owns and operates. If you go to the next slide, excuse me, I will take you through a permitting overview. We are, as Tyler indicated, in a PDA. That PDA number 50 was adopted in 2013. It includes the existing Aloft and Element hotels, which were completed long ago and are operating as great resources both for the convention center as well as for the community itself. So the PDA, which was approved in 2013, contemplated this hotel, a third hotel, which you'll see. So we're not proposing anything new. We're merely coming back to complete that which was contemplated and within the allowable dimensions of the PDA. So this is really just to codify the development plan as consistent with what was already approved. We filed a letter of intent back in March and our PDA amendment in June. Just some quick program details: 438 new hotel keys, approximately 160,000 gross square feet, 14 stories and 145 feet in elevation. And we are also proud that this is an all-electric, sustainable hotel project. Next slide, please. Shows you how the 2013 PDA approvals come into place. Plan right, you will see the Element and the Aloft, and again, that surface loft lot to the left. Next slide, you will see in the highlighted yellow is the contemplated site, and again, as approved for this third hotel, which we're very excited to deliver. So with that, I will hand it off to Mark Rosenshine, to take you through the plans.
Thank you. Good evening. Next slide, please.
So as Joe mentioned, one of the important parts here is this is all on MCCA lease property. So the entire campus with the 2 existing hotels plus the parking lot, MCCA. The blue at the top of the screen is the existing hotel. The bar at the bottom is what is proposed. This is a pretty tight site, as you can see. There's a small footprint here. Right now, it's sort of a quasi-open space, green area. There's not a lot going on. There's a transformer and, quite frankly, a storage container where they have some old furniture. So we'll pull that out of the way. The complexity here involves a lot of the utilities, the existing generators and electrical gear sitting on that site. That will be relocated up onto the roof of the existing aloft building and the new building built in its footprint. So in a lot of ways, it'll be a public improvement. You get that electrical gear up in the air so it's above the resiliency level, create additional sustainability in the overlay district. Next slide, please. The key transportation components here, as Joe has mentioned, there's an existing surface lot. The proponent does not currently lease all of the spaces in that lot, so they're available. What we will be doing is leasing an additional 75 parking spaces to cover the additional 438 keys, so trying to keep the number low of parking availability. We've talked to and worked with the BPDA staff and planning on public transportation access, trying to utilize car share. We'll be doing a TDM, right there. We're fundamentally a convention center hotel, and the idea is to use that public connection rather than having single occupant vehicles here. Folks will be arriving from those that do park and come in to a new entrance. One of the key things we wanted to make sure was that this looks like a separate hotel from the aloft. This isn't another wing of an existing hotel. It's got to have its own identity. It's got to have its own front door. It's got to have its own front porch. And you'll see in the landscape and design, we've tried to achieve that. Next slide. Here you can see this is the side of Anchor Street that we're on. Brand new landscaping, brand new courtyard. We're managing that resiliency. The first floor of the hotel is well above the existing grade. Thus you can see the steps and the ramping to make sure that we meet that resiliency requirement. New plantings and street trees, and really working to make sure that it has a front door. Next slide. Here it is in scale. You can see this is from the Butler Street side. The convention center is in the upper left corner in the background. That's the aloft. Wants to be proportional in terms of scale and shape and massing to the aloft hotel with its own identity. The aloft is a little bit more masonry, a little bit more punched openings. We're trying to balance that with some glass and really provide an interesting architectural framework. We know that across the street, DHL and some of those loading and transfer facilities are not long for the world, hopefully. So trying to present a face that looks across Butler and makes it so that that neighborhood can extend across Butler Street once that next block gets built. Next slide, please. Here it is from that side. You can see there's a visual screen on the lower level. We really tried to focus the expense and the complexity of the facade at the public realm on the first two. The right-hand side of the screen, the important part you're seeing there is we're closing up and enclosing the loading area, which is currently sort of open air and visual to everybody in that neighborhood. Some grow walls and some screening to really make sure that this looks and feels like a publicly finished space, not sort of a courtyard and open utility space. Next slide. This is really the key from the other direction. So now you're looking from D Street as you were coming from the convention center down. One of the things we did is we pulled the face of the building forward of the aloft. So when you look down the street, proud of that plane of existence, give you a real sense of a front door and an arrival and make it stand out as its own entity. There will eventually be a brand and a flag. Obviously, you can see we'll deal with signage and work with the staff on that. Next slide. Tried to work with and really manage the articulation of this building and create some shadow lines and some planes to give it a good architectural feel and a real depth to the presence. The facade now, obviously meeting new energy code, requires a significant amount of insulation in order to meet either Passive House or LEED certification. And so the depth of the building facade is really important here. Next slide. There's a visual of the front door. You can do the next slide as well, just giving you a sense of the openness and glassiness on the first couple floors to make it feel transparent and accessible. Next slide. Here it is in an aerial view. You can see we've also proposed a nano wall on the corner so the hotel in nice weather can actually open up, have an indoor-outdoor space, really allow that lobby and the guests coming in and out to experience the outdoor. Next slide. From the transportation, traffic, and access point of view, again, the loading and unloading for the Aloft Hotel passes through and under this, so rather than being an open-air loading courtyard, this building will help to hide that. We've worked closely with the transportation folks to make sure we're looking at how access around the site goes. Right now, there's a lot of one-way streets coming off of D Street. They have been designed so that if the need were there, they could be flipped to a two-way, but at this point, everybody seems to agree that the one-way transportation component works best. Next slide. We will be making a change on Anchor Street itself. It has a very unusual sort of head-in parking condition that I don't actually understand why they did that. So we're going to get rid of that, increase the number of spaces that have parallel park, and really make sure that Uber, Lyft, and drop-off work at the front door of the hotel. Next slide. I'm almost done. Just a couple more. Actually, I am done. I was that close to the end.
All right, thank you very much. So as this is a public hearing, we're now going to take public testimony. So if you would like to give testimony, please come to the podium.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Director Chen, Madam Secretary. My name is Mayna Perez, Executive Director for the Carpenters Labor Management Program with the Carpenters Union. I'm here representing thousands of union carpenters that live and work throughout the city of Boston, as well as dozens of general contractors and subcontractors that build throughout the city of Boston, following state and federal laws, and provide our young men and women with opportunities to a career through our apprenticeship and training program. It is with pleasure we go on support of this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, Director Shedd, members of the board. Tom Ward, I live in the city. I'm a member of Local 7 of the Ironworkers. I'd like to thank John and Mark. Mark's a proven commodity in my neighborhood, a professional. I'd like to thank him for the vision. And good luck at the project. I rise in favor. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Daniel Daly. I'm a lifelong Boston resident and also a business representative for Local 103 with the electricians, and I'm proud to support this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, see if we have any online testimony.
Shaitan Green, you can unmute yourself.
Hello, good evening. My name is Shaitan Green. I'm a business agent for the Boston Building Trades Unions. We represent over tens of thousands of members and their families who reside in each neighborhood of the city of Boston. I myself am a proud lifelong Boston resident. I'm raising my family here. I also plan to never leave, largely due to part of being in the union and being able to share those benefits with my family. Thank you to the city of Boston, planning department, members of the board. Thank you, madam, for facilitating these important community meetings. The opportunity for community voice to be heard, I think, is truly important. This is a great project, and thank you for the planning that goes into making D Street Hotels a good project. A good project is one that has community and worker standards. It uplifts communities, and the values of those benefits advances communities and workers altogether. All things crucial to building strong families in the community. I'll end it, but tonight we speak in strong support of this project, and thank you everyone involved. Can't wait to see the neighborhood get to work and the community get to enjoy a nice project. Thank you all.
Thank you, Shaitan. Chris Pappas, you can unmute yourself.
Madam Chair and members of the board, I'm Chris Pappas, President and CEO of the Massachusetts Lodging Association. I wanted to be here today just to let you know that the Massachusetts Lodging Association is in support of this project. It would be a welcome addition to the community and for Boston's meetings and conventions industry. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there anybody else online or in the room who would like to testify about this project? Madam Chair, this concludes the public hearing.
Okay, thank you. So now we'll move to board question or comments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I obviously support this project. We need more hotel rooms in the city of Boston. It's a proven fact. It's one of the reasons why rates are so high. Does it have an impact on tourism? Of course it does. So I think this is great location. I guess my question is, and I'm sorry if I missed this, I was sort of reading some of the correspondence while you were speaking. Is this part of the Aloft? Is this going to be an Aloft hotel?
No, so it will be a separately flagged hotel owned by the same company that owns the Element and the Aloft, but it will have a different brand, different flag, different check-in, different staff. So it is a standalone
Is it a known
hotel.
name, or are these
We have not at this point made a commitment on a specific flag. So
this is fascinating to me. So you're going to build the hotel, and then, I mean, it's a great location, and then You're
No.
shaking your head no?
So the way it will work is after you have zoning approval, you can
Yeah.
go to somebody like Marriott, you
Yeah.
can work through, you designate a flag. We won't start construction until we've designated a flag, but they won't designate one if we don't have the zoning right to build it. And so
Okay.
that's the sequence. We got to get through this step, then we'll pick a flag, then we'll build it.
Fascinating.
Yeah,
I just
both of those hotels are Marriott affiliates now, and our owner-operator is as well. So it'll be a select service, if you will, like more approachable from a rate standpoint, and we think kind of not only meets the need for hotels that the MCCA articulated, regardless of a future expansion, but also is helps to take some of the pressure off the immediate neighborhood and serves as an amenity for people who live and visit the area.
Okay, so I guess stay tuned, should you get through today and
Yes.
then zoning,
Yes,
and
sir.
and we'll see if my Bonvoy account will work,
This is my new theory with you guys. Last time I wouldn't tell you the name of the grocery
I was
store.
gonna
This time I'm
say.
like,
It won't be Joe and Mark's hotel.
If it's a Trader Joe's hotel, then I'm gonna get you.
Yeah, I don't think anyone will go.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair.
So, yes, through the chair, so I'll save my joke, but with that, I'd just like to say, you did a great job, it looks beautiful, and it's, a proud day when you see the labor leaders across the city of Boston in support of your project, especially right now when you see the lack of cranes in the sky, and we definitely need projects like this to come across and hopefully be approved all the way through. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Our client's really excited to be working not just with the trades, but also you may have seen in your packet that we've worked with the hotel workers union that is supportive of this. We've working with them, and obviously for the trades, we're aware that they're also in our community, not just building in the city, but Local 7 in South Boston, and the carpenters with leadership and members in the neighborhood, and working with Lee Kennedy as the contractor, who is very experienced in building hotels in the region and in the city. So this is an exciting opportunity at a time where it's been a little more difficult to get some of these things out of the ground, but we appreciate that partnership.
Definitely, and yes, Local 26, definitely, we're in the comments section, so thank you.
Additional questions or comments? I just had one question, just because we got a couple of comments, and just for the record, there were some concerns about kind of signage. Can you talk a little bit about just the whole signage process and yeah?
Sure. So 2 steps. One, excuse me. We had a conversation in the community. It was made very clear that electronic signage, digital billboard, those sort of things were not expected here. And the language in the board approval and the memo is very specific that this will not be digital billboard, electronic signage. We are expecting as a hotel, as you know, the signage is important for wayfinding. We have, if you look at the renderings, there's a canopy there that has clearly got a spot and an opportunity as you're looking down D Street, and that's really the orientation that we're talking about. We're expecting people to come from the convention center. We expect the wayfinding to really need to be go down D Street and recognize where it is. I think up at the top, also facing that direction, we'll end up with a second sign, which is consistent with the hotels in town. Not blinking pink neon or things like that. It will be appropriate, but also really important for clients coming in for a first time in Boston to know where is the particular hotel they're staying and how to get there from the convention center.
Sure.
We were very clear with the community, no digital billboards, no electronic signs.
Yeah, and I just add to that too, it's also in the regulatory documents. That was important for the staff here and the leadership of the BPDA, but also was a request that was made of one of the IAG members who was very helpful in the process. So we wanted to make sure we accommodated that. And as Mark showed, we're between D and E Street. If you look at it now, E Street doesn't continue south into the South Boston proper at this point, but there's a lot of planning and discussions eventually that will happen. We're across from a DHL warehouse facility. We do see us as kind of helping for that future revitalization, not just at our site, but in the immediate area as we look kind of towards the south,
Any additional questions or comments?
I had one brief one. I'm sorry, Madam Chair, I should have asked earlier, but this is really fascinating to me. I assume you're going to have a restaurant or bar, any hotel of that size will. Do you have a liquor license? Would it come under the abutting hotels, like a?
So in the lifestyle hotel that we're expecting, there will not be a full-service restaurant, go in and buy dinner. This is one of those hotels where you get breakfast, right? And so there's a very small food service. There is a bar.
Yeah.
Every hotel.
Of course.
So yes, we would expect to have a separate liquor license from the Aloft, from the Element. It'll have a standalone liquor license, but this is not going to have a full-service restaurant. It'll really be the breakfast and snack and charcuterie and things that you have for just the hotel guests.
Yeah.
So from a traffic point of view, that was also important. We're not expecting people to come and be, arriving as a designated single occupant vehicle or something like that to a restaurant here. As you know, there's a bunch of storefronts on D Street. That's really where we want the retail to be focused and managing that.
No, totally understand, but and obviously, I would think to be successful, you need a full liquor license. So is that something, so that you'd have to procure that on its own, separate from, even though it's a budding hotel?
You look at the plans too on the roof, there's a pretty good, space and an amenity location, and maybe that's more for programmatic use. But as Mark said, also just to support, obviously our client owns and operates the other two hotels, but some of those storefronts, have come and go and gone, right? So to provide more support for that and in and around the convention center, but also the neighborhood too.
Okay, great. There are no other further questions or comments. A motion is in order.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes.
very much.
Congratulations. Good luck. All right. Item number 20. Request authorization to disperse $275,000 from the 1350 Boylston Street Project Community Benefits Fund to 15 community and neighborhood organizations. Aaron.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Chief Chen, Secretary Polemus. My name is Aaron Hallquist. I'm the Manager for Developer Compliance. I'm here to ask the board's approval to disperse $275,000 to 15 very worthy community organizations in the Fenway. There were 20 applicants this grant cycle, and we elected to go with 15 of them, which are listed in the table in the board memo. So you have all the different organizations and the attendance sums that we intend to distribute via grant agreements. We ran the same process that we always do for grant cycles. We put together a committee, we review all the applications, we score them, we vet them, and then we basically arrive at consensus on who we deem to be the most appropriate recipients at this time, given the needs in the community. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes.
All
Thank
right.
you very much. All right, item number 21, informational update on the Harvard-Alston Partnership Fund.
So once again, thank you for having me. This one is a little different. So normally I'm asking for a board action to distribute funds. In essence, what I'm just doing is I'm providing you with an update on the 18th year of the Harvard Partnership Fund, which was created in 2006. Basically created as part of the overall IMP approval process, the 10-year Harvard-Alston IMP, which was renewed last year. This is the second year of the 10-year 2025 IMP commitment. Harvard, unlike with our own internal grant cycle, runs this process by which they determine the grantees. We do have one of our staff from community engagement, Gray Black, is our representative on that body. But Harvard runs the process every year with members of the community, with extensive outreach and to electeds and community groups. Usually what happens, and I want to make sure that we all understand why this is an informational update as opposed to asking for a board action. Normally, our agency takes in these funds, holds them, Harvard runs the process, and then I come to you, I ask for the board action, the approval, and then we go forward with our own grant agreements. Last year, what happened was, in the interest of time, Harvard decided it was best that they run the process. I asked for the board approval, and then essentially they just cut the checks straight to the grantees. As opposed to our process, this is much better for the local community groups because Harvard just already has everything drawn up. They execute their agreements between the two parties, and then they can just cut the checks. That's what we're doing this year again. Going forward, we're still determining whether or not we want to go back to the old way of doing things, where we hold the money and then do the grant agreements, but for now, we're just keeping things as they were last year. So for next year, we'll have that conversation, but I just wanted you to understand the context and why it is this way as opposed to the previous board memo where we hold the money in disperse. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Makes sense. Any questions from the board? All right. Thank you very much, Aaron.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 22, contractual payments. I need a motion to pay our bills.
I'd like to make a motion to pay the bills.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Please pay the bills. And finally, item number 23, director's remark. Director Shen, floor is yours.
Good evening, members of the board. First of all, Happy New Year. I want to start my report actually to update the board on two particular items that actually were not part of the board agenda. As many of you may know, earlier this week on Monday, I shared with the Roxbury Strategic Master Plan Oversight Committee that the board would not, I was not going to recommend to the board today to extend the tentative designation for P3 in Roxbury. As you all know, we have witnessed over the last few years, the lab market has changed since the P3 designation was approved in 2021. And the lab portion of the project was going to really provide the value to subsidize and enable the home ownership opportunities, as well as a new home for Embrace Boston at the P3 site. Our staff in the city worked hard, hand in hand with the development team over the last 3 years to see if there was any way to make this project possible. But ultimately, we all came to the conclusion that the financial realities of the current market conditions would make the project infeasible at this time, and as originally conceived back in 2021. In the absence of a viable project at P3, we were also received an invitation from the state mass school building authority to actually enter into a feasibility stage of potentially bringing state funding to one of the priority projects for the city, which is the reconstruction of the Madison Park Technical and Vocational High School. And as we were considering that, and once we got this invitation, it became very clear that P3 could potentially provide alternative options for the reconstruction of this building. We, in some of the earlier studies conducted by the Public Facilities Department, we concluded, based on the information that we have, that if P3 was available for the reconstruction, it could save as much as somewhere between $80 to $150 million for the reconstruction of this new school. So instead of sending students across the city to other schools as a sort of swing solution while the old school was being renovated or demolished, or paying for temporary playing fields for, in the area behind the campus high area, the community will now have a new option to consider how this site can provide a better design and layout for this new school, and also ensure continual access to the sports field and uninterrupted and undisrupted programming at the Madison Park School. I want to stress that at this particular point, the city has not made any decisions, specific decisions about the Madison Park reconstruction project. We have been invited to a feasibility phase, which will last approximately 2 years with the state. Now, a new community process will start and be formed with the oversight committee as well as other community members to consider what is the best location and option for the school, including options that would use either all or portions of the P3 site. Now, I want to also stress that the city is still committed to the long-term advancement of wealth and economic development opportunities on this site. And of course, we've worked very closely with the community on this larger aspiration. I know that this particular news was very disappointing to many people in the community, including many of the members of the Oversight Committee who've worked very long and hard with us over a now 20-year period on P3. But acknowledging the unfavorable market conditions that is preventing the current P3 proposal to move forward, we are now actually working with the community to focus on the current priority of siting the Madison Park School in the next 2 years. At the conclusion of this next phase, the 2-year feasibility study with the state, we will have a much better idea what part of the P3 site will be needed for the school, and that what remains, or what parts of the P3 that will not be used for the school, together with the existing site of where Madison Park is sitting on, would be aggregated to a new development parcel. And we've made a commitment to the community that we will work with the Oversight Committee to make sure that we can have a proper disposition process where we'll be inviting new development ideas that would incorporate, embrace, and other community needs that have been part of the current P3 proposal. We've also made a commitment to the current development team that they will be invited back for this new disposition process. So I'm ultimately hope that we can ultimately have our cake and eat it too, although we won't be able to do it all at the same time. And we hope that during the feasibility phase of the study for Madison Park in the next 2 years, the market condition will also improve so that we can achieve the kind of economic development agenda that we see for the site. The second item that I want to bring the board's attention to is that the city actually was able to make a historic deal with the Kraft Group for their new stadium proposed in Everett, just at the border of Charlestown, on the other side of the Mystic River. 2 weeks ago, the city agreed to a financial and operational terms of a community benefits package totaling nearly $48 million over the next 15 years. Now, this is just the 15-year benefit, the initial 15-year benefit. But an important component of the agreement actually will ensure a perpetual annual payment to the city, because in this agreement, the city was able to actually secure a perpetual surcharge on both the soccer games that will be played there, as well as concert tickets. And there's provisions within the agreement where there will be adjustment to the surcharge based on CPI for the soccer tickets, but also that the payment, the surcharge on the concert tickets will be a percentage. 1.5% of all of the ticket sales will go to mitigating impacts to the city of Boston. We also secured commitments related to the project design review, local hiring, and regional transportation coordination, in addition to these annual payments. The Kraft Group will also make substantial infrastructure improvements in Sullivan Square in Charlestown prior to the stadium's opening, and fund all public safety and transportation management costs for the stadium events. This, I think, is a win for the city, achieved by an interdepartmental team led by our planning department. I'm grateful to Mayor Wu for her commitment to ensuring that the city reached an agreement that would appropriately address the stadium's impact on Boston to perpetuity. The next topic is a sort of bittersweet topic for me, which is that I want to recognize that our Deputy Director for Climate and Coastal Resiliency and Infrastructure Delivery, Richard McGinnis, will be retiring at the end of this month. Rich began working for the then BRA in November of 2000, 25 years ago, as a senior planner, and since then has held many titles, including Deputy Director of Waterfront Planning and Deputy Director of Climate Change and Environmental Planning. Under Rich's leadership, the city pushed forward on key resiliency initiatives such as Climate Ready Boston, zoning to require buildings to be climate resilient, initiatives to specifically protect Long Wharf and the Marine Industrial Park and the Charlestown Navy Yard. Since 2000, our understanding of climate change and future flood risk has changed dramatically and quickly. And Rich has continued to refine and adapt both his own knowledge and our approach as a city and as a department to how to best protect our neighborhoods and our city. Rich led the charge to revise the FEMA flood maps by expanding our flood regulations to include future floodplains. He has also served and represented the city on many capacities, serving on the Seaport Economic Council, the Water Transportation Council, and the Boston Harbor Island National Recreation Area Partnership. We will be better off as a city for years to come because of his work and his long commitment to public service. We owe him a debt of gratitude. I have the pleasure of actually knowing Rich from the first day that he joined the agency and really have enjoyed his counsel and his advice throughout my own service to the city. I want to wish him a very best in retirement and a big thank you. And I also would say that one of the things not mentioned earlier on is Rich's expertise in the municipal harbor planning process. I suspect that in the next years, we will still be tapping into his expertise from time to time to help us extend his knowledge to the next generation of planners in the department. I want to summarize today's board approvals. There were 5 new development projects totaling 460,000 square foot of development that would represent an investment of over $240 million. There are, in these approvals, there's approximately 120 total new residential units, of which 56 will be total income restricted units. When these projects are finally constructed, it would put 450 tradespeople to work during construction and create over 300 permanent jobs and 220 indirect jobs in the rest of the economy. Now, some of the highlights, of course, noted was the first net zero carbon hotel, which I think is a landmark achievement. And then, of course, Mr. O'Malley's favorite project, the senior affordable housing project at the historic Rogerson House in Jamaica Plain with a memory care facility. I want to end with where Aaron ended, which is a summary of the community benefits and highlight the disbursement of $275,000 from the 1350 Boylston Street project, which I recall was approved back, over a decade ago. So the benefits of some of these projects take a long time to actually accrue. And this, as Aaron highlighted, that there will be 15 community and neighborhood organizations in Fenway that will be benefited from this disbursement. These organizations serve the community through senior programming, environmental work, youth programming, and among other important causes. And then you also heard, of course, the report that you got with respect to the Harvard-Alston Partnership Fund, which actually in some ways I'm sorry to acknowledge that I was then there when that partnership fund was established, now on its 18th round and disbursing $200,000 to 25 neighborhood organizations as part of their yearly community benefits contribution. And just that, I think that Aaron also mentioned that Harvard, over this 18-year period, have disbursed over $2.2 million to over 60 organizations to the Austin-Brighton community. So this is a really big long-term impact that the university has had on the community, leveraged through our institutional master planning process. So with that, I end my report. And again, thank you. And I look forward to seeing you in a month.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. And on behalf of the board, I just want to, for the record, thank Rich and his family for all the dedication that you've given to our waterfront, our city, me personally, in helping me understand, all the things that we're doing to protect our city. So many thanks. And with that, I need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes, meeting adjourned, and we'll see you next month.